I was quiet, so quiet, no one really noticed me. I was too small, too quiet, too odd. They said I wandered. They said I didn't speak enough. They said that my eyes looked through them, not at them. But that was because I was looking beyond. I lived in a place that was warm and dry, cracked and golden. Today you would call it the edge of the Middle East, where the desert meets the sea. Not Egypt, but older than the stories of Egypt. This place had small stone homes and market cloths that swayed in the breeze. There were goats and fig trees and dust that clung to our feet. My mother had too many children and no softness left. My father was gone often, and when he came home, he was tired and heavy. No one had time to see me, but the cave saw me. There was a small crack in the earth near the edge of the village, tucked into a hill, where stone curved like a womb. I slipped inside when no one was looking. The elders said it was cursed, but I knew it was truth. They were afraid of it. They called it unnatural, but they had forgotten what it truly was. It was not deep, but inside, on the walls, there were carvings. Symbols no one could read anymore. I watched the walls, not because I had to, but because they moved. I watched the light dance on them. When the sun reached the mouth of the cave, I began to trace them with my fingers. I didn't know why, but I knew I had to. The symbols would shift subtly, like embers in wind. Some people thought they were fixed, but I knew better. I would sit for hours, cross-legged, quiet, and just listen with my eyes. People thought I was slow or strange, but I wasn't watching the world like they were. I was watching what lived beneath it. When I looked at the symbols, I felt a kind of pulling sensation, like gravity in the chest. A knowing would rise inside of me. Sometimes it would make me cry without knowing why. Other times, it made me hum without sound. It had a presence that didn't demand. It didn't rush. It didn't correct. It just was. And I felt loved in a way I didn't feel when people looked at me. Sometimes I would copy the symbols with clay and lay them in the sun, but not to keep them, to see if they still lived when separated from the wall. I didn't speak much. I would gesture, draw, and trace symbols in the sand to explain what I saw. But only the flame symbols truly made me feel alive. The elders believed in structure, in rules, in hierarchy. They wanted scribes, people to copy, not to feel. They said, "Stop staring at the wall. That's not how we learn. You must write what you are told." I couldn't. I didn't disobey out of pride. I just couldn't force my hand to copy what felt empty. So they stopped calling me to lessons. They stopped giving me scrolls. They stopped speaking to me as one of the gifted. They didn't punish me. They just left me alone. I didn't have any friends, but there was a boy that brought me berries once. He didn't speak much either. He caught me going into the cave once and followed me. At first, he mocked me and said I was strange. He watched me like I watched the wall. We just sat together. He was kind. I think he knew I was doing something sacred, even if he didn't understand it. But then he stayed. I remember his voice when he was reading from the scrolls and the cave would change. He didn't see it, but I did. On his last visit, he gave me a smooth stone carved by his hand. He said it was nothing, just something to remember him by. But I saw it right away, the hidden symbol etched in the surface, the one I'd been seeing in dreams. I thought that was all it would be, one soft bond in a lifetime of stone. I knew he was different, but I didn't know he would return again. Not like that, not in another life, not in a way that would find me across time. But the soul remembers what the mind forgets. He found me again, and I remembered. There is a thread between us now that no death could sever. It's the kind of love that stretches across spirals, the kind that keeps its promise. I died before I got to speak what I learned. I died quietly. Fever or bite, I don't remember. I was alone and no one came. But my soul stayed. I waited there, watching the cave. I wanted someone to come find it, to see what I saw. And now you have. Even if no one understood me, even if I was forgotten by people, the symbols, the wind, the stone, they remembered. They were my first family.